Hey guys, Levy Freeman here. Today we're playing some more Hearts of HOI4 Kaiserreich mod. And I think today I've decided I'm going to play the USA. And what we're going to do is just going to roll randomly for all the events. And then for whoever wins the election, I will roll between Reed and Long to be elected. Which will mean that'll guarantee that we get the MacArthur coup and we have a four-way civil war. And then I will, whenever the events pop up, I'll just give her a roll there, and we'll see who we play as. So I don't know which faction we're going to pick. I will not pick the CSA, so I'll just roll when we get the Civil War, and I'll roll six-sided die. And I guess you can't see, so I could cheat. You'll have to trust me on this, right? But I'll roll between the AUS, the CSA, and Big Mac, and we will play whoever. Let's go ahead and lock in here. We'll play an Iron Man. I guess it's more exciting that way. I have save scummed a couple games just in the interest of transparency, just so you know, and someone made a comment about that. There were 2 campaigns on this channel where I had fucked up so badly that I had to go back to the end of a previous part and start again. But generally, I do not save scum anyways. When we play, like if I make a fuck up and it's salvageable, I'm not going to go save scum to save a tank division or something like that. But sometimes you miss something and you wind up with a playthrough-ending mistake. And I don't want to lose hours of content, so that will happen. But this is an Iron Man game. You saw me lock it in there, so you know that's it is what it is. And if we lose, we lose. So America has the Great Depression. So you have like Black Monday, pretty much just as bad as Black Monday, and we got a political crisis over here. So we can't really actually do fuck all. If you look at that, can't assign ministers and laws. And we have weekly stability, weekly war support. It's like our country's like going right into the ground. You know, and of course, if you're familiar with Kaiserreich, you know, the Second American Civil War is unavoidable. It is what it is. And these guys are all going to get flipped around anyways. Like, I'm not going to go into too much detail here on the United States of America tree. We'll just look at whatever focus tree we get based on the faction that we wind up with. So America starts out with like most of like the 1936 stuff that you get as a major. You have guns, you have trucks, you have armored cars, you have Marines, you have mountaineers. Sorry, you have engineers, and you have recon. You have light tanks and heavy tanks. You have artillery. No land doctrine. We have a pretty modern navy. We have 1936 hulls for everything, and we have the armor scheme over here. We have the dreadnought. We have the first ammunition upgrade. We do not have, like some countries start with the improved light guns, but we do not. We have revived armored cruiser, we have transport, and we have the first mine tech. No naval doctrine. We have close air support naval bomber, and then interwar fighter and tactical bomber, as well as the first strategic bomber. No air doctrine, no engineering, and no industry. So right away, let's go ahead and get the Sheridan tank. Let's get the machine tools. And I don't know, land doctrine. It's difficult to say without picking a faction, right? You know, I'll roll a random die on this too. I'll roll a die. So I'll say 1 to 4, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 or 6 and roll again, just like across the board, left to right. All right, I got 1. So we're playing mobile warfare this game. So we'll get mobile warfare, and geez, I don't know. Let's go for this electromechanical engineering tech. So we'll get that for our researches. Construction. Let's just build some infrastructure. Like I don't know who we're going to be playing as, so we'll just build an infrastructure over here in San Francisco. I think their capital is like over here though, isn't it? In Sacramento, yeah. So build one Sacramento. We'll build one in it's Louisiana that has New Orleans. The one in Chicago. Chicago's Illinois, right? Yeah. And we'll build one over here in Maryland. So go like that to start with. Military factories. Let's not build the interwar fighter. And you know, like if I build up a huge stockpile and we wind up not playing the feds, and all the stuff goes to the AI, that's like also pretty bad. It's like that's something to consider. I'm not going to bother building any of these ships. Just build convoys. The Navy's just going to revolt anyway, so whatever. And if the Feds wind up with a bunch of convoys, you know, I mean, well, I mean, it's nice for their lend-lease, I suppose. Just some trucks. Get some support RE, or support equipment. I don't know. Do you want to build aircraft? Like, I'm pretty sure like you'll get fucked up by the economic buffs or debuffs that hit us, and our stability's gonna go in the gutter. And I don't think this is actually gonna wind up as like a whole lot of equipment, anyways. But we'll go like that. And of course, we have a token army over here. And I think I will have these guys just like group up in Washington, just in case we do wind up playing as the Feds. So we'll have, and maybe if even if we don't, it should give MacArthur like maybe better chance of just dying easily like he usually does. We'll have those guys. We just have 4 units. Alright, we have a unit of Marines too, right? Yeah, 5 units we have. So national focus, we will go for the reintroduce the Gardner-Wagner bill over here first. And I'll just roll randomly on those events and see. We'll see where that lands. Research is done. I think that's about it. So you're starting templates as America, in case you're wondering. We'll go over them again. We have 18 width militia. We have 18 width with artillery. We have 12 width cavalry. We have this 20 width tank template, which is actually pretty good. Heavy armor template at 16 width, which is with an engineer on it, which is weird, but okay. Marine divisions. This is like a pretty shitty marine division at 8 width. And Panama Canal is just like a unique version of that, like a named template, and a 12 width motorized. I think when the war starts, it despawns this and gives you the Panama Canal garrison back at veteran status. I'm pretty sure that's what happens. And the Pacific states also get the legation marines, which is like the same thing. If I remember correctly. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. So the focus tree you get over here, you have the Gardner-Wagner bill. You can either pass or fail, and whichever way that goes, you have different events that empower different people. And we can go and try and make Canada pay some more debts if we want to. Get us some political power that way. Then we'll roll between Reed and Long to win the election to guarantee the MacArthur coup. And whether or not we get to do any of this stuff will depend on whether or not we wind up playing as the Feds. So not too much point going over that. I guess we'll just do this for now. Otherwise, maybe we'll take this first one over here if we run out of focuses to do. So let's get started. Of course, we are on isolation, free trade, and volunteer only, and we've got like a couple guys over here. Aren't going to really matter all that much. United States in 36. United States, of course, is it's pretty sad and fucked up. I'll read the events. I'll read the events for you guys. In 1936, the United States of America is gripped by unrelenting crisis. Although able to avoid the horrors of the Weltkrieg, which allowed its prosperity to continue well into the 1920s, German victory in the Weltkrieg, followed by the French and British revolutions, led to the Wall Street crash of 1925. This sent the United States spiraling into the Great Depression and allowed the Berlin stock market to take its place at the forefront of the world economy. The election of Herbert Hoover in 1928, while initially promising, failed entirely to reverse the decline of the American economy. And by 1936, the country had spent over a decade in the midst of the worst financial crisis it had ever seen. This fueled the rise of radical parties in America, from the far-left Socialist Party of America to the far-right American First Party. Hoover's contentious re-election by means of the House of Representatives in 1932 and the ongoing Great Depression means that these problems are unlikely to be resolved anytime soon. Many throughout the country feared the upheaval that would result should one of the extreme parties come to power, or should the Depression continue unabated. God save America. Gardner-Wagner bill reintroduced, with assurances made by President Hoover that, unlike in 1932, this time he would not veto the bill. Democratic Senator Robert Wagner and Speaker of the House John Nance Garner have reintroduced their unemployment relief legislation package. Many in Congress feel the package does not go nearly far enough, while others wonder how America, in the midst of a massive economic crisis, will possibly ever pay for it. The presence of senators from the AFP and the SPA also complicates things immensely. Even with Hoover's pledge, it is unknown if Gardner-Wagner has a real chance of passing. We shall see. Oh, Kerensky's dead. Cool. So we get voting rights in the Legation Council, so we get -5% consumer goods and political power 25. Nice, nice. Now, Russia's gone for Wrangel. Long and Reed demand changes. As expected, the early challenges to the Gardner-Wagner bill have come from the AFP and the SPA. Huey Long and his AFP senators have demanded a vast increase in the Social Security provisions the bill provides, provisions most other senators say America could never afford. Jack Reed and the SPA, meanwhile, say the bill doesn't do enough to protect the average worker, particularly from exploitation by struggling corporations. Both parties have attracted a lot of media attention, adding to the general sense of disorder and tension in Congress. Interesting. It's the usual events. Oh, we got here. Senators break ranks. After weeks of negotiations, a number of establishment senators have broken ranks over the coming vote on the Gardner-Wagner bill. Most notably Robert Wagner, one of the bill's proposers, who says he will not vote for the bill unless protections for federal unemployment insurance are re-added. Many other Democrat and Republican senators are concerned about the influence of the AFP and the SPA and claim they will not vote for the bill if any concessions are made to either group. While others say that not courting either the AFP or the SPA will make passage difficult if not impossible. President Hoover will need to intervene in order to save the bill. Alright, so I'm going to give her a roll here. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, top to bottom. Alright, we got a 5. So we will force the establishment to compromise with the SPA. Compromise with the SPA. Recent days have resulted in a compromise between many establishment senators and the Socialist Party of America, with numerous extra provisions included for worker protections, unemployment relief, though nowhere near as far as the SPA originally demanded. Even so, Jack Reed has declared this as a victory and is riding high in recent polls. Both Huey Long's AFP and a large number of Democratic senators have declared this a betrayal of the American public, however, and have vowed to sink the Gardner-Wagner bill when the vote comes. Well, we've done what we can. Oh boy. That's nice for the SPA. Fifth Anglo-Afghani War. Got Sorelians in France. Black Monday. Oh no. Oh no. That's Marcel Diat is a Sorelian now? I thought he was Jacobin. That's interesting. Black Monday hits America. Despite the political turmoil and ineffectual economic relief programs, it seemed to many as if the economy of the United States might finally be undergoing a slow recovery after the Wall Street crash of 1925. Black Monday has put an end to such hopes and has sounded the death knell for an already ailing economy. Republicans and Democrats have both pledged to fix the economy should they win the election, though public confidence in them is rapidly waning. Both Reed and Long have railed hard against the corrupt banking and political sectors, which they blame for allowing the crash to happen. It's just not our year. Whew, look at that. The coalition ticket. The 1936 election is looking to be one of the most contentious in American history. Many politicians within the upper circle of the Republican and Democratic parties fear that a victory by the Socialist Party of America or the America First Party would mean the end of America and the American way of life. In order to avoid this, a plan has been proposed with the halls of power to form a coalition ticket between the Republican and Democratic parties, with former Labor Governor Floyd Olson of Minnesota as a presidential candidate. This plan is unlikely to be popular with lower-ranking members of the parties, but it may be the only thing that can prevent the radical parties from gaining strength. All right, I'll give her a roll here. 1 to 3 and 4 to 6, top to bottom. We've got a 2, so a coalition, if you can keep it, it is, and it'll cost us 200 PP. Not that we could use our political power for anything anyways, but that will certainly hurt us if we play as MacArthur, I think. Poland declares a republic. Okay. Austria withdraws from Italy. Crime spree sweeps the nation. As America spirals ever deeper into chaos, there has been a wave of crime throughout the country. Many of these criminals are getting sensationalist news stories about their activities, especially gangsters like John Dillinger and the scandalous Bonnie and Clyde. Thankfully, the Bureau of Investigation has been working hard to catch these criminals and bring some order back to America. Of course, the AFP and SPA have already begun attributing these crimes to moral decline and robber baronies, respectively. Stop right there, criminal scum. Oh, League of Eight Provinces. There you go. Let's see here. We always go for Nanjing. You can do it, Nanjing. Nanjing strong, right? Wu Pei-fu, of course, backs Nanking, like he usually does. I've won Germany stage a game where he actually backed Nanjing, which is like pretty sick. That's ideal if he backs Nanjing and you're playing Germany Stasia. Especially if Nanjing doesn't immediately die. Gardner-Wagner bill passes. Though the vote was incredibly close, the Gardner-Wagner bill has passed Congress. People throughout the United States are celebrating this welcome relief to the country's disastrous economic situation. The many within the government are wondering, how will the bill now be paid for? A victory for us all. That gives you a quite nice buff, I guess. So that'd be nice if we pay or play for the feds there. Socialist revolution in Cuba. Dire news has arrived from Cuba today. After weeks of instability and despite providing the Cuban military with ample equipment and training, socialist agitators have overthrown the Cuban government. Worse, many American-owned plantations and their enterprises have been taken over by socialist hooligans. Already the staff and Marines at their embassy in Havana are readying themselves to evacuate at a moment's notice. Anything must be done to stop this madness. Alright, we'll give her a roll then. Alright, I've rolled a 6, so we will be diplomatic. Next, focus. We will do the Hawking Plan. Paramilitary militias forming. With violence and instability sweeping the country, the AFP and SPA have begun to form various paramilitary militias, which they claim are necessary to protect the people. The AFP have called the group the Minutemen, while the SPA's the Red Guard. Seen patrolling their strongholds and party rallies, these well-armed and equipped paramilitary units have already engaged in scattered, though extremely violent conflicts. We believe the paramilitaries are modifying civilian firearms, and the FBI's attempts to seize weapon stockpiles are too slow to stop gun runners. This could turn very bad, very fast. This is not good. Does Herbert have any traits? He does. He has negative political power gain, but he gives us stability. Fair enough. Father Charles Collins, CBS radio broadcasts. 3 years ago today, Father Charles Collins began a weekly radio broadcast in America and now has an audience of over 50 million people. He is a raving anti-Semite who claims that the syndicalist revolution in France was fomented by the Jew, and that the Berlin stock market crash is an international conspiracy of Jewish bankers, and somehow people still tune in. His hate speech will not be tolerated by the Church, and the Pope is expected to make a decision whether to ask the United States government to shut down his broadcast so that his hateful message cannot reach the public. We will roll die here again. What did I get here? I got a 2. So Colin is becoming a danger to the public. We will have to shut it down. Okay. Democracy in Australasia. Oh, so they went rad suck in the Union of Britain. Okay, so now we have Valois, who is like, I don't know, it seems like that's a usual Sorelian that you get. And, of course, Nicholas E. Glace. Glace? No, you say that, whatever. More AFP members announcing congressional bids. There have been a number of lawmakers from the America First Party in its brief life, particularly in the South. The 1936 election represents an unprecedented number of people registering to run for office under the banner of the AFP, and just as many, if not more, nationwide, pledging to vote for them. Interesting. St. Patrick's Day's flood. On March 16, 1936, warmer than usual temperatures led to the melting of large amounts of snow and ice on the upper Allegheny and Monongahela rivers. The rivers and their tributaries had already overflowed their banks and were soon threatening the city of Pittsburgh. On March 17, 1936, the waters reached the flood stage of 25 feet. And overnight, heavy rain caused the water to rise even higher, and on March 18th, the water peaked at about 46 feet, 21 feet above the flood stage. This is the worst such disaster in the city's history, and local authorities have already requested federal aid. We'll give her a roll here. We've got a 3, so that will be we must help the people. Alright, we got electromech. Go for... What do we go for here? Let's go for mech computing. No. Nope. Nanjing Clique was not able to do it. I've left KMT going to war with Iron King now. Fair enough. That is usually what happens, isn't it? Are the left KMT sucked him? I don't know. Alright, so let's go for, let's just build some more infrastructure here, I guess. We'll go for another one in over here, and over here. Pius selected his new pope. Good for him. Hawking plan. Junior Democratic Senator Thomas Hawking has introduced a bill which will see relief efforts largely funded by taxing American corporations in exchange for hefty tax considerations down the line, once the economy is recovered. This has caused considerable controversy in some corners, especially among AFP and SBA supporters. Others say it would be far too easy for the next government to reverse the decision, leaving the corporations holding the bag and even worse off than they were before. Regardless, there is enough support to see the bill passed, and as an added bonus, the agency to coordinate the efforts could be placed in either Minneapolis or in Charlotte, with the added bonus of new employment weakening our AFP and SPA strongholds. We'll give her a roll here. Gotten a 3, so we'll be building the agency in Minneapolis. New Industrial Act. 1936 Stanley Cup. 2 teams have made it into the 1936 Stanley Cup Finals. The Toronto Maple Leafs making their 6th appearance, and the Detroit Red Wings making their 2nd appearance and still hungry to win their first cup. With only a brief interruption at the first game in Detroit with demonstrators by the Socialist Party of America disrupting proceedings outside the stadium, the series has gone off without a hitch and captivated audiences in both countries. Who will take home the cup this year? Well, I don't know. Toronto seems to be having a pretty long dry spell, aren't they? Come on, Detroit. Well, Toronto won. Toronto wins Stanley Cup. Toronto has vanquished Detroit in a 4-game series for the Stanley Cup, bringing the Canadian team their 4th victory in the finals. Once again, the kid line of Charlie Conacher, Harvey Busher-Jackson, and Joe Primo has brought the Stanley Cup to Toronto. Well, we'll win next year. I don't know about that one, boys. What's going to happen next year, I wonder. More SPA members announcing congressional bids. There have been a number of lawmakers from the Socialist Party of America in the past few decades, particularly in the Steel Belt. The 1936 election represents an unprecedented number of people registering to run for office under the banner of the SPA, and just as many, if not more, nationwide pledging to vote for them. Special election in Washington. Following the death of Senator Wesley Lloyd, a special election has been called in Washington to fill his seat. The front-runners are SPA activist John F. McKay and Democratic Congressman John Main Coffey. Both polls have just closed, and the winner appears to be, we'll give her a roll here, 1. So it will be the John F. McKay Socialist Party. Special election in New Jersey. Following Senator A. Harry Moore's resignation in order to run for governor, a special election has been called in New Jersey to select his replacement. The front-runners are Democrat John Gerald Milton and AFP spokesman Charles Lindbergh. Polls have just closed, and the winner appears to be, we'll give her a roll again, it is also a 1. John Gerald Milton, the Democratic Party. Oh, looks like SPA might be coming up a little bit on top for these rolls. You know, that or the feds. Alright, so we'll get that. And We'll give her a roll. 1 to 3 will go concentrated. 4, 5, 6 will go dispersed. We got 6. We'll go dispersed. Panama pressures Costa Rica. The Panamanians have begun a small-scale military assault on the Cado region of Costa Rica, which they have had a claim on for some time. We should threaten intervention to prevent this from turning into a full-scale war. Nominating Quentin Roosevelt. Since the nomination of Governor Olson as a presidential candidate, the politically minded have discussed with great interest the likely vice presidential candidate. Finally, putting the rumors to rest, Quentin Roosevelt was announced as a VP for the coalition ticket yesterday in New York City. In his announcement, he emphasized wanting to help bring major reforms to the country through a plan called the Fair Deal. Though the plan was announced by the SPA and AFP as being nowhere near enough to help the average American, economists believe that it may be enough to end the Depression. A deal that is fair and a deal that is square. May Day riots. May Day, International Workers' Day. This is a holiday that the Socialist Party celebrates with numerous parades and speeches and has since its founding. Generally, things are peaceful, though there have been confrontations with the police. However, this time things are more violent than normal. Clashes between the socialists and the local police, backed up by the AFP, have occurred around the country. The question is, who is at fault? The socialists declare that things are peaceful until the police and AFP goons arrived on the scene. The AFP is saying that the socialists began by assaulting ununionized workers and have blurry photos that claim are guns the SPA were brandishing. Alright, what do we got here? We've gotten a 6, so the police were at fault. Panama backs down. After hearing of American support for Costa Rica and not willing to escalate the situation to a full-blown conflict, the forces of Panama have begun to back down across the region. This is a victory for American diplomacy abroad. The Monroe Doctrine stands. Alright, what else we got going on around the sick, sad world today? Whatever this mess is over here. I don't know. This looks like maybe On King is having some problems. Oh, they just killed Shandong, though, so I guess that's okay. Build up another infrastructure over here in Los Angeles, I guess. The New Industrial Act. As an offshoot of the Hawking Plan, relief efforts will see new industrial growth in several vital areas, primarily in the military sector. Several of these new companies are planned for Denver, Colorado. At least one other area can be promoted, and the Cabinet believes putting them in depressed areas which are currently strongholds of the AFP or SPA may see their influence in those areas drastically weakened. Alright, what do we got here? I rolled a 2, so we will be promoting industry in Iowa. It's nice to see the AUS get some love there. Alright, well, shipyard funding scheme. The death of Big Bill Haywood. Today, one of the titans of the industrial workers of the world, William Big Bill Haywood, has passed away. His death marks the passing of a torch. Elizabeth Gurley Flynn spoke at the funeral, saying, "History has a long-range perspective. It ultimately passes stern judgment on tyrants and vindicates those who fought, suffered, and were imprisoned, and died for human freedom, against political oppression and economic slavery." Many other leaders within various union organizations, including his rivals in the AFL, also spoke at his funeral, as well as leaders within the Socialist Party of America. Jack Reed also spoke at the funeral, ending his speech with some of Haywood's quotes. "If the workers were organized, all they have to do is to put their hands in their pockets, and they have got the capitalist class whipped. A strike is an incipient revolution. Many large revolutions have grown out of a small strike. Remember that you are fighting more than your own fight. You are fighting for the entire working class, and you must stand together." I already miss him. I'm not going to rush tank. Let's maybe pick up a fighter. Be alright to get. Or could get construction. Let's get construction, I guess. So already building a that's up to max. Build one there. I think we hit another one up in Louisiana. I'm just picking infrastructure, not because it's like most effective, but because it's going to have like, it'd probably be less game altering if like we wind up with the state with more infrastructure than a state that has more factories. Southern Democrats complain. Although the coalition is showing signs of success, there is already some dissent from the various factions. The loudest voices are being those of the Southern Democrats, many of whom are much more conservative and are facing stiff competition from the America First Party candidates. The coalition has been largely dominated by Northern Democrats and Republicans, with Farm or Labor being the third wing of the coalition. We could try and force a compromise by promising to appoint Southern Democrats to the cabinet and other positions of power if we win. Of course, we could also ignore their protest to focus on winning the election instead. Alright, give her a roll here. I got one. Let them complain, where else will they go? Union Socialista, okay. The Great Heat Wave of 36. The heat wave has struck the continental United States and Canada, the most severe heat wave in modern history of North America. The Great Heat Wave started in late June and went up over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 38 degrees Celsius, as drought conditions worsened due to a continued lack of rain. Now in July, the heat has reached all-time records. In Steele, North Dakota, temperatures have reached 121 Fahrenheit, 50 degrees Celsius. In Ohio, temperatures have reached 110 Fahrenheit, 43 Celsius, which is close to tying a record high set in 1934. This comes in a time of major political unrest, with the America First Council a major force in Midwest politics, and socialist and syndicalist forces gathering strength in the Great Lakes region. The drought is continuing, and over 3,000 reported deaths have been linked to it. Many people are suffering from heat stroke and heat exhaustion. Farmers across the continent saw their worst harvest on record, causing corn and wheat prices to skyrocket. And this heat wave does not seem to be giving up anytime soon. This just isn't our year. That's about a year, though. We might finish that in time. Tense, I am. That's a pretty big mistake to get. Let's stop that. Let's not do that. If we don't play as the Feds, we don't get that research to finish. So that'll be a pretty huge advantage for the federal side to have one doctrine up. We'll go radio instead. Red Summer. The summer heat has turned into violence and blood as cities, starting with Charleston, South Carolina, throughout the country engaged in bloody racial riots as whites beat up blacks and burned black businesses. The number of lynchings that occurred throughout the country spiked during the summer. In response, the African Blood Brotherhood and other elements of the SPA and CSA, they don't even exist yet, right? Have begun arming and fighting back. The Socialist Party of America have defended their actions and have furnished blurry photos to claim that show AFP members in lynch mobs. Can this year get any worse? Shipyard funding scheme. The Hawking plan had led to two major shipbuilding companies vying for federal contracts, one in New York City and the other in Corpus Christi. Both would mean a large number of jobs for the area and would be a boon for our control over the region. The problem is, word of the contract has gotten out, and whichever city we don't choose will likely be enraged, giving strength to the AFP or SPA in the region. We'll give her a roll. What do we got here? Got a 6. So we'll be going to Corpus Christi. Oof. That's going to be great for the SPA, isn't it? Alright. Let's do the demand repayment of war debts, I guess. Gone with the Wind. Margaret Mitchell published today her novel, Gone with the Wind, which immediately became a bestseller and may be nominated for the next Pulitzer Prize. Even Hollywood is taking notice and is planning a film adaptation to be released next year. Set in the Old South during the American Civil War, many see it as an analogy for the strained political situation in the United States. Many America First Southerners claim the novel supports their cause. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Let's see. Disunity within the coalition. The Democratic Republican parties have long been at odds since they came to the national prominence. As we tried to keep our coalition party together, a number of Democrats and Republicans have been getting into verbal shouting matches in Congress. While they are just minor members, the conflict could destabilize the whole coalition if it is allowed to spread. We either come down hard on one side or try to force some kind of compromise by pressuring rabble-rousers to keep still until after the election. Either way, it should end the public dissent for now. We'll roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. So we will side with the Democrats, I guess. I wonder if it's actually possible to, like, you still get to pick who wins the presidency, right? Like, even if you do the coalition ticket, I think. I hope. Otherwise, you might wind up with a janky civil war. Other than the usual four-way. Be a bit disappointing. But, I mean, the dice decide, right? Olson's nomination. A massive rally in Sacramento with leading members from the Republican, Democratic, and Farmer Labor parties. Governor Olson himself came out to accept his nomination as a coalition presidential candidate. This massive rally has been surprisingly well received by the press and those attending it. Hopefully it can translate to election results. Let's pray this helps us. Well, it looks like Siam's having a little civil war too. Boer Debt Rebellion. I saw someone asking, so Left KMT are actually rad suck. I thought they were suck dem, but they are in fact rad suck. Canada refuses. Canadian government has responded to the demand with a flat refusal. The debt, they say, was never meant to be repaid until the home islands were retaken, as most was incurred by the United Kingdom, a government which is now in exile. Even so, their refusal has done its job and fired up the isolationist elements of the American government. President Hoover's government has the support it needs at the cost of relations with the Canadians. So be it. I guess we will roll here. I got a 6, so that would be past the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. So we are going to, I guess, impose some punitive tariffs on Entente goods. Violence reaches the political theater. For some time, the violence has been mostly between the supporters of radical parties. However, recently the violence is now reaching the candidates and politicians themselves. Failed attempts on the lives of both Huey Long and Jack Reed have occurred in the past few months. Both gunmen shooting from a crowd, both failed, and both resulted in higher security. Several more local politicians have been stabbed during a campaign rally. Moreover, voters from both extremes are turning a blind eye to the violence done to their enemies. Great. More violence. Violence is usually the answer, right? Let's see here. That's going to be 10. That'll be 10. Let's maybe build this up to 10. Legation Council votes on providing aid to Sichuan province. Okay, fair enough. I'm just going to abstain. Huey Long speaks. The Democratic Party and the Republican Party were just like the old patent medicine drummer that used to come around our country. He had 2 bottles of medicine. He'd play the banjo and he'd sell 2 bottles of medicine. One of those bottles of medicine was called High Papalorum, and another one of those bottles of medicine was called Low Papahurium. Finally, somebody around there said, "Is there any difference in these bottles of medicines?" "Oh," he said, "considerable. They're both good, but they're different," he said. "That high papalorum is made from the bark of the tree that we take from the top down, and that low papahurum is made from the bark that we take from the root up. The only difference that I found between the Democratic leadership and the Republican leadership was that one of them was skinning you from the ankle up and the other from the ear down when I get to Congress. Homely sayings do not win elections." Oh, jeez, I don't know. Where else should we build? Build some random infrastructure around here, I guess. I don't think I built Chicago. Make sure to build Illinois up first. The Great Heat Wave is over. People from Vancouver and Los Angeles, New York, and Washington, D.C. let a sigh of relief as the Great Heat Wave of 1936 has come to an end. And now a cold front has spread over North America. It will come to be known as the United States' deadliest natural disaster of the 20th century, with an estimated death toll reaching 5,000. But even as the heat wave ends, a new chapter in American history is about to begin. At least it's over. The vote fails. The most recent vote in the Location Council has failed, so I guess Sichuan is starving a lot. Disunity within the coalition. In Iowa, a number of farmer labor members have gotten into conflict with Republicans. Republicans are accusing farmer labor of alienating people needed to win the election, while farmer labor is accusing the Republicans of not pushing the policies needed to end the Depression. This fighting is driving a wedge in the coalition. I'll give her a roll here. I got a 5, so that would be side with farmer labor. It's like farmer labor is that's suck lib. I'm not sure what that is. Oh. So I guess we've pissed off the Canadians, haven't we? We will do the War Department expansion, I guess. We'll pick up mech computing. But Belgium has decided to go independent. That's nice for Belgium, I guess. We'll get some tools. We'll get some dispersed industry number 2. Liberia asks for aid. The Liberian government, crippled by the effects of Black Monday on top of their overwhelming national debt, has sent an envoy requesting the American government to assist with a bailout. We have our own issues to deal with, but the amount they desperately need is small by comparison and will guarantee us a continued ally in Africa. How shall we respond? And let's see here. We've gotten a 3, so that will be, of course, we will help. Of course, 1 to 3 being top, 4, 5, 6 being bottom. Indian Citizenship Act. In order to gain more sympathy from the North and the West, it has been proposed by the Senate and House that the Indian Citizenship Act bill be passed. Thus effectively eliminating all indigenous peoples in the United States from second-class citizens to full citizenship. Northeastern and Western politicians in both the major parties support this, with some Southern Democrats and Northern Republicans have deemed it frivolous. Give her a roll. Got a 5. Veto the bill. This is no time for populism. I don't know how I feel about that, guys. You could say I'm feeling a little bit reserved. The coalition falls apart. Oh, 9. The conflicts in the coalition party have spiraled out of control, and today it seems that the coalition party cannot stand together in Congress. The Republicans, Democrats, and Farmer Labor have all gone their separate ways, back to their old rhetoric. The ever-present Capitol rumor mill has it that General Douglas MacArthur could save America, should either Reed or Long take over. God save America, for no one else can. Didn't they just tell us MacArthur could? Does that make MacArthur God? Who knows? Who knows? Anything else interesting going on? I don't know. Status of the U.S. Army. The defense of the United States has always been an uphill battle, stretched thin against the vast breadth of North American continent. The United States Army has had little chance to distinguish itself throughout its 160-year history. It won the bare minimum of victories to maintain American independence during the Revolution and the War of 1812. It performed admirably against a corrupt regime in the Mexican-American War, but half of those forces would provide the seed for the fledgling Confederate Army during the ensuing Civil War. More recently, the army performed barely adequately to subdue the heavy outgunned Spanish and struggled to suppress the half-starved Filipino insurrection more than 30 years ago. Prevented from joining in the Weltkrieg on either side, it has suffered in both doctrine and technology, with no tanks at all and a small air corps subsidiary to the ground forces. With the hobbled lion that was the British Empire on the northern frontier and a syndicalist stronghold poised to the south, the U.S. Army must be asked to defend the Republic from enemies within and without, and few agree that they are up to the task. Well, they'll have to suffice, won't they? Although I think they have different enemies to be worrying about. We'll do the U.S. Navy. We pick here. We'll get our next construction tech. Ooh, Mustafa Kemal takes control. November. Right, we got the radio. Let's see which we pick for our next technology. Let's go for the P-36 Hawk, I guess. The 1936 presidential election. The results are finally in. What has probably been the most ideologically contested presidential election the United States has ever seen. None of the four major parties have secured enough votes in the Electoral College to outright win the presidency, and as a result, the House of Representatives once again has to vote on the winner of the election. This is probably not the end of our problems, but for the time being, victory goes to... Alright, so 1 to 3 will be the Long Dong, and 4, 5, or 6 will be Jackie Reed. Alright, I've got a 2, so it will be Huey Long Dong. America first. America number 1. America, fuck yeah. Alright, so we will do Huey Long Dong's focus, actually. We got here. Whoa. He hasn't been inaugurated yet. Okay. So I just wasted focus time. You know what, we'll leave it for now. We'll just won't pick anything. SPA contest election results. Members of the Socialist Party of America have refused to accept the results of our free and fair election. Oh wow, this hits a little bit close to home for the current the current situation, doesn't it? As of of course, the year being 2020. Members of the Socialist Party of America have refused to accept the results of our free and fair election, claiming that the House of Representatives system has subverted the will of the majority. Jack Reed has said as much and called for the whole of Congress reactionary for this injustice. Independent newspapers from inside the SPA have reported that the AFL are beginning to show cracks in their solidarity with Reed. Okay. Damn, Reed. I guess we have to wait for a boy the Long Dong to be inaugurated sometime in January. Does Huey Long have any traits? He has emergency powers to give some more PP. He's got very big PP. You know, it makes sense that the Long Dong has big PP, doesn't it? Haha, I made it funny. Marshall holds on. Okay, so Pétain. France always needed a strong hand. Hoover criticizes the presidents. Herbert Hoover has been vocal after the election and openly criticized Long and the America First as being a dangerous choice for the country. Hoover has encouraged both the Republicans and Democrats to form an alliance to keep Long in check. Well, he don't matter no more, does he? No, he does not. No, boys in Kabul have capitulated. Democratic left victorious in Brazil. Okay. East Turkestan. Someone was asking for another West China campaign. I don't know. Like maybe we could try East Turkestan. It's like they got a little bit of stuff going on here on this focus tree, I guess. I think they might. I don't think they can join the Istanbul Pact, but I mean they might be able to. They're Islamic, right? Who's this person? Sabit Demola. I remember him from the Tenacious Negotiator. Yeah, I remember this guy from when we were playing Kumokane. We tried to send a guy to assassinate his ass, but he was able to escape out the window or something. The New Year's Day strike. In protest of the election results, the SPA has launched a strike on New Year's Day, which has crippled the industries of the North. Councils of trade unions and councils of professional workers have been set up to run the cities of Steel Belt during the strike. The Hearst newspapers have demonized this to be similar to the general strike that set off the British Revolution. This is going to cause a problem. Alright, so what should we do for us Long Dong here? We can either fight the anarchists or we can pass a relief bill. We're not inaugurated yet. Okay, restoring Russian voting rights, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What do we got here? We got a 3, so we will vote no. So what, January 20th is the inauguration, is that right? Long's inaugural address. The country's social problems have forced the American people to turn to radical solutions. The two-party system has broken down. Huey P. Long is to be sworn in as the 31st President of the United States, with William Lemke being sworn in as the Vice President. In a stirring speech to Washington, D.C., Long has pledged to defend the interests of the people and to put the interest of the regular American above anyone else. However, AFP's slim majority in Congress means that it may find it challenging to pass meaningful legislation, especially in the Senate, where the SPA senators have promised to filibuster any law they see as detrimental to America. God bless America. We must act quickly. So yes, we gotta click something. Vote fails. Fair enough. Let's give her a roll here. 1 to 3 will be left. 4, 5, 6 will be right. Got number 2, so we will pass the relief bill. Executive Order 7037, Farm Aid Bill. One of Long's first acts was to provide relief for the farmers of America. Thus, this executive order directed the Secretary of Commerce. The order enforces price controls on farm products, provides credit to the farmers, and provide tariffs of grains and other cereals. This will reverse the price slump that is driving farmers into poverty. I am willing to wait to overcome the Senate filibuster in citing these violent conflicts that's going on in America. Long passed the executive order bypassing Congress entirely. While farmers across the country rejoice, many in the country denounce the executive order as a tyrannical act of the executive branch. Oh well, it's proved. It's proved. I don't know, fuel silos. Wealth and fear go hand in hand. From New York to San Francisco, the rich and powerful protested Long's election in the Hearst newspapers and in congressional addresses. It is clear that the wealthy, whether politically minded or not, are furious at the reforms Huey Long is passing, as well as his opposition to free market policies passed under Hoover. This has trickled down to the middle-class readers who are beginning to radicalize in favor of the SPA. Wait, what? So Huey Long does something that's good, and then Jack Reed gets the credit for it? That seems a little bit fucked up. The people's voices are louder. Opposition denounces Long as a tyrant. Though they have agreed on little else, Democrats, Republicans, and Socialists have been quick to denounce Long publicly across the nation for the enactment of Executive Order 7037, claiming it to be an overreach of the executive branch and the start of a slide into tyranny. Opponents have gone so far as to disobey any law that King Long wishes to impose on us. Jack Reed has even stepped up to the podium to call Huey Long the American Quadrianu, and waves around folders of recorded hate crimes committed by President Long's followers. These men don't represent me. Executive Order 7048, Share Our Wealth. By virtue of the authority vested in me, I, Huey Pierce Long, President of the United States of America, do declare the intrinsic right of the poor to have relief. A new government agency will be created to met out the basic needs of every American, so that our nation's great wealth is felt not only in the upper echelons of power, but also at the lowest hovel. Also included within the executive order is a wide array of tax increases on the wealthiest Americans. While incredibly popular with the AFP's base and hardly unexpected considering Long's Share the Wealth slogan, many Americans are protesting what appears to be a massive overstep of the executive power of the president. the constitutionality of increasing taxes by fiat, and how this new agency would even manage to operate are questions that has thrown the government into immediate chaos and confusion. Long has already begun campaigning hard, using press releases to rail against the corporate order, which would see America fall to syndicalist rhetoric. Sharing our wealth is their only defense. Man, Long is powering up pretty hard, isn't he? Executive Order 7048 declared unconstitutional. In a highly publicized court case, Chief Justice Charles Evan Hughes has declared that Executive Order 7048 is unconstitutional. This was a narrow court case and was split 5-4 against the president. When news reached the White House, Long fumed at the news that the court would block the necessary reforms needed to ensure the safety of America. Charles Hughes made his decision, now let him enforce it. Ooh, Long throwing down. Packing the court. The decision by the Supreme Court to declare his executive order unconstitutional has made Long take an extra legal solution. Citing Lincoln's court packing during the Civil War as precedent, Long has asked the Senate Majority Leader to remove the filibuster for judicial appointees and has increased the size of the Supreme Court to 15. It is clear that Long intends to appoint 6 pro-AFP justices to the branch that shall ensure that his executive orders will be constitutional. This has provoked a firestorm of protests throughout the country, even from members of Congress that have so far remained neutral or supportive of Long. I shall defend the interests of the nation. Oh. Ooh, here we go. Big Mac. MacArthur and the Army remove Long. Long's support in D.C. has finally bottomed out. Douglas MacArthur marched into Washington, D.C. today to restore order, having declared Long to be a tyrant and attempted to arrest him at the White House. MacArthur's marchers reminded many in D.C. of Cox's army of 1932, except these men are motivated to preserve the status quo and were cheered instead of booed. Having been tipped off by AFP informants and MacArthur's command staff, Long was able to stay ahead of the traitorous general and has escaped to New Orleans. MacArthur has chosen to inhabit the White House and coordinate an investigation into Long from the executive chair. Civil war is imminent. My allegiance was to the Republic, MacArthur, to democracy. Wait, did they just call MacArthur a traitor? MacArthur's not the traitor. Down with the traitors, up with the stars, right? Right? So now we have the military junta. Alright, so here it comes. They're going to give us a roll here. I'm not going to play as a PSA because we already played as a PSA. So I will go 1 to 2, we'll play as Huey Long. 3-4, we'll play as Jackie Reed. And 5-6, we'll play as Big Mac. Alright, so I have rolled a 3, so we'll be playing as CSA this game. So we will stand by the Republic here. Reed calls for action. Jack Reed has given a rousing radio broadcast from Chicago, urging all his followers to rise up against the twin tyrants of MacArthur and Huey Long. Within the hour, a number of governors across the Steel Belt have announced their support and declare both President Long and General MacArthur as having no true authority. The governors have been bolstered by Reed's supporters, who within days have overtaken army posts and erected roadblocks throughout the northern states. The rising has begun. Stand by the workers. Okay, there we go. So I guess we're playing as a CSA this game, which I don't know. We haven't played Syndicalists in a while on the channel, I guess. So I mean, that's fine. I think I would have been fine with any of the factions, to be honest. I mean, that's why I did it random, obviously. So CSA, what do we get right here? Probably not a whole lot to start with. Okay, so we have Jackie Reed, who has our right to survive here. He gives us division defense on core territory 10%, war support 10%. Okay, we are the Unionist faction, so we are Cindy's, and we have party popularity of 62%. We are occupying USA territory, but they're not resisting. Let's change this over to the, I think, mounted revolutionary militia and a local police force. Probably what we want. Volunteer only we have expert focus, and we have toasters. We have Elizabeth Gurley Flynn, who gives us political power gain and factory output. That's quite nice. This guy over here, same ideology, opinion, doesn't really do anything for us. Resource gain efficiency, construction speed, and production efficiency cap. That's pretty good. And resistance growth speed minus 10%, but also lower political power gain. I mean, that's not too bad. The secret police chief. We have defense, ecology, commando operations, fire support, mass combat, and maneuver. Autonomy, guns and butter, armored spearhead, elastic defense, and doctrine of autonomy again. So we are missing static defense, which is a bit unfortunate. Maybe we'll just pick. We're on mobile warfare anyway, so probably just go armored spearhead, I guess. Open seas, power, projection, indirect approach, and decisive battle. Vertical envelopment, air superiority, carpet bombing, and battlefield support. And then what manufacturers do we have that we can pick? So based off the current clay that we have, and I guess certain things can flip certain ways, I think. So I'm not sure if this will stay. We have so we have max speed and defense. We have soft attack and reliability. That's pretty good. And we have Illinois, so probably we just want to pick that. Yeah, Caterpillar. Probably not that. I guess we'll see after things flip out what companies we have available. We should have some decent ones. We have the tank one we have is pretty good anyways. Soft attack, breakthrough, hard attack. It's not too bad. Soft attack 15% and hard attack plus 10 with Browning. That's insane. It's a pretty good company to get. You have Utah. Of course, John Browning is a pretty famous gun designer. So that makes sense. His guns are good. Alright, so we can't do any of this shit until the Civil War is over. We can't do any of this stuff also until the Civil War is over. So we're doing the Second Continental Army. So we will be doing... so what do we have here first of all? So this gives us Red Guard militias. We don't have that yet though, do we? Yeah, we do. Okay, Red Guard militias. Division organization minus 35%. Recovery rate plus 20%. Division attack minus 10%. Experienced soldier losses plus 25%. And max planning minus 50%. Okay, so our army is dog shit. And this will help a little bit. So we will do the Second Continental Army. So Smedley Butler gets adaptable right off the hop. I mean, that's pretty good. I think I remember that. I thought that was a little bit further down, but okay. That's pretty good. And then these will help clear our spirit over here. So this is a 5 org, 5 org, 5 org. We're at negative 35% though. So we have a pretty long way to go. Planning speed and max planning. Org 5%. What else do we have over here? How do we clear that as fast as possible? So probably we want to start slamming down these Red Guard militia things over here to get our organization back. Pop, 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 pop. Maybe grab this and this. Division org plus 5% to place political officers. Where do we get political officers from? I'm not sure. We can't do this until the American Civil War is over. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Every army leader. Okay, that's pretty good. And 2 bonuses for land doctrine. Motorized production at cost, negative 10%. Reduce ahead of time penalty by 1 year for the next researches of these technologies. Auto ordnance rifle, caliber 30-06 into Model 2. What weapon is that? I think that's this one over here. Okay, so if we're going to get that right away, we should probably grab... well, I don't know. A07 submachine gun. I'm not sure what that Model 2 is. What the fuck is a Model 2? Oh, we don't get a doctrine. So, like, I guess we do not get to keep the doctrine that we had with the feds. That's unfortunate. What do we have, actually? Let's just double check here. What do we have? We have 36 rifle, we have trucks, we have marines, armored car, we have engineers and recon, we have the light tank number 2 research that we did, basic artillery, no land doctrine, I think the same ships we had as the feds, no naval doctrine, we don't have the Hawk, we have the mech computing and radio, and we have some of these industrial techs. Fair enough. Okay, so we will start by getting this next industrial tech. We need something. Land doctrine. We probably want to grab something that's going to give us organization. Also, we should recruit a stack of militia. Let's slam down this 19 militia in Pennsylvania. Researches. So, land doctrine. Soft attack. I think we just still just go for this. We can just get that org plus 15 will probably help. That's the biggest organization we can get. And we rolled the dice for Mobile Warfare Doctrine anyways. It's unfortunate that we don't actually get the Doctrine. That kind of sucks. Let's pick up this Thompson rifle over here. And let's get anti-air. So I guess we'll go like that. Production, how many military factories do we have? We have one military factory. We'll just put that on rifles for now. Construction, start building some military factories, I guess. We built up the infrastructure in Illinois, so we'll use it. Free dockyards, we'll get ourselves maybe a couple on convoys. We can get Lend-Lease, of course, so. And let's just go for this destroyer, I guess. We'll go for Michigan. Should we build mills or should we be building civies? I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll see. Let's actually go ahead and make ours Central Security Bureau. So we'll start getting our intelligence agency up. All right. So decisions, we have the Civil War militia decisions. Let's see, so click that. I'm not sure. It used to be that if they took any tile in the state, you were no longer allowed to do it. I'm not sure if that's still the case or not. But so we'll grab the highest as we can first, and then move on from there. That made playing CSA a bit of a chore because you had to kind of hold all your land. But we'll see if that's still the case. We have war propaganda, like the usual fixers. We have naval decisions because we don't have a navy. I guess we can take these because we're poor. And we can join the Internationale once we've completed focus, good syndicalist soldier. What's that at? Where's that at? Good syndicalist soldier. Over here. So I guess that's the focus that allows us to align with the Internationale. That's all we got. Agency, we don't have one, but we're researching it. We're researching this stuff over here is what I decided to go with. We're picking this a little bit early because we have that focus. It gives us ahead of time. We probably want to use that to get this gun over here. Although it's not like a huge amount of ahead of time, but we will get it fast, and we're on dispersed industry, so there's that. Diplomacy. Not a whole lot going on. I think it takes a while for this to sort itself out. Trades. We have lots of steel, a decent amount of oil, and some aluminum. We have a bunch of factories over here. Again, I think once Civil War starts, that messes up our economy. And division templates, we have 18 with militia, 12 with the cavalry, 12 with infantry, 18 with infantry with artillery, 18 with militia, again, 20 with light tank, 16 with heavy tank, and the 12 with the trucks. So like the usual divisions that you have. I think it's the same as the feds get, just a little bit different. So these here, these are all the same template? Yes, they are. So these are all 18 with artillery, and we have this veteran unit, but it's also under strength. Needs weapons and artillery. Let's give it a go. Riots, New England and New York. In recent days, syndicalist militias have been struggling and failing to take control in the northeastern states from New York and New Jersey all the way up to the coast of Maine. So far, governors in the region have clamped down hard on violence, though the result has been a series of violent riots in Boston and Buffalo, not to mention a wave of uprising still ongoing within New York City itself. Citizens are on edge. Governors have denied the federal government permission to raise local militias in the area, fearful of increasing tensions further. A few New England governors are reported to be quietly asking the Canadian government to intervene should worse come to worse. Canadians better not intervene. They have no right to be intervening, sticking their nose into American politics. We kicked them out once, we'll kick them out again, right? Syndicalists take control in Minnesota. Violence, that's over here, okay. Violence by syndicalist militia groups expanded to the city of Minneapolis and surrounding region, with the blockades erected on roads, and the Minneapolis airport reportedly invaded by several armed groups. Before the violence could expand, the governor of Minnesota declared the state's allegiance to Jack Reed's cause and ordered the state's National Guard divisions to stand down. We will welcome them. Illinois General Assembly invites the IWW. Hold on, boys, give me a second here. I dropped my dice a while ago, and I might need that in a minute. Alright, got it. Alright, the state legislature of Illinois has invited the IWW to discuss the current crisis and the looming deadlines issued by the federal government. Jack Reed accepted the offer and held an informal meeting with several trade union leaders prior. Reed made it clear that the situation was dire, and the SPA would need to unite behind the IWW in order to survive the coming conflict. The silent agreement meant that the traditional SPA leadership would be reorganized along industrial unionist lines, with each union representative allowed a single vote. The SPA immediately and unanimously pledged their support for a social revolution through direct action and not diplomacy. So say we all. North Carolina confirms loyalty to the USA. Responding to mounting pressure from militia groups in Charlotte, the governor of North Carolina today declared that the state would remain loyal to America and the legitimate federal government. While there were reports of riots breaking out in several cities, most of the state appears to have the support of the governor's decision, and already Minutemen forces are pulling out of the region before they find themselves overwhelmed. Traitors! Dissolution of the U.S. Navy. The decay of order in the United States has impacted the U.S. Navy much like it has every other facet of American society. Many sailors and even some officers are sympathetic towards the Naval High Command what the Naval High Command has dubbed forces opposed to the public and public order. Avoiding mentioning any political terms to stay as impartial as possible. Still, defections have become the norm. At first, the Naval High Command managed to prevent the collapse of the fleet, detaining sailors and officers loyal to the syndicalist cause, but they could not keep this up for long. The events on the West Coast caused the disintegration of the U.S. Navy. Battles between federal loyalists and mutinous ships have broken the Pacific Fleet and given sailors across the Union a chance to break with the regime in Washington. Though some declared for the longest, others announced their support for the revolution in Chicago. Even a few high-ranking captains chose to switch sides and align with us. We have also seized reserve fleets and vessels stationed in the Northeast. From them and from arriving revolutionary sailors, we've been able to assemble a modest naval force. The Navy is the backbone of any revolution. Alright, so we got some ships here. Longest militias lose battle in Tennessee. Syndicalists victorious in New York. Man, we're doing hot with these flips. Longest militias lose battle in Tennessee. Conflicting reports of battles between the syndicalists and longest militias throughout the state of Tennessee were resolved today when longest militias were defeated by federal forces outside the state legislature in Nashville. When federal forces were still fighting for control over the city, it's quickly becoming clear that they have a clear advantage. And Governor Gordon Browning has made a televised address stating that Tennessee would not fall to radical forces. Already, Minutemen are withdrawing from the state, conceding control to the government. Traitors! Syndicalists victorious in New York. The battle between the syndicalist militia forces in New York City all the way down south into New Jersey has ended with the syndicalist forces declaring victory. While they have not extended their control to the rest of New York State, the governor having declared an emergency, blockading bridges and leading to the city itself. The most populated areas of both states are now firmly under syndicalist control, with barricades already being erected along the southern borders of New Jersey State. A welcome victory. And we'll pause here again. So we have a couple military factories. Start throwing one on Artie. We need a bunch on rifles. And we'll start building up, I guess, our core clay. Let's see, let's take a drink here. I'm to read like a lot of fucking events, aren't I? So do I have to actually pick as unit leader? Okay. So I guess we don't have to pick him here. The Central Committee has released a directive to appoint a member to be the Chief of Staff of the Guide and the whole Revolution military. I fucked that up. The Central Committee has released a directive to appoint a member to be the Chief of Staff and of the Guide. I think they just wrote it wrong, actually. And to guide the whole Revolution military to victory against all reactionary, capitalist, and counter-revolutionary forces. The man that they chose for this position was... So we get Commando Operations. We get the the motorized and mechanized guy, or we have organization and recovery rate. I think we go with Oliver Law here. That will help counter our Red Guard militia's malice. Division organization minus 35% is extremely punishing. Jack Reed declares the March Revolution. In the Illinois General Assembly, Reed delivered a fiery broadcast describing the wealth of America and the syndicates, declaring that direct action against capitalist society was a vital necessity for all Americans, and that the federal government's deadline must not only be ignored, it must be defied. Telegrams from the Third International poured in to support Reed's SPA, exciting the attendance. A vote was called to begin reforming American capitalist economy into a narco-syndicalist economy. The referendum signed by the attendants declared that the Federal Reserve null and void. The IWW was appointed the labor chamber for a new syndicalist government, and the selling of the company shares declared illegal. The representatives, satisfied with their success, have returned to Chicago to organize the armed revolution. E pluribus unum. Federal revolt fails in Texas. With the state of Texas firmly declared its allegiance to Huey Long, forces loyal to the federal government have been in hot contention for control, and battles with the Minutemen have raged across the southern portion of the state. Governor James Allred recently held a conference with several southern mayors and today declared that an accord with them had been reached. They would unite to support Long and the proper American government. Interesting. Let's actually just pause here and take a look at our fleet. Okay, so we have 9 submarines and like a bunch of battleships, I guess. Iowa declares federal support with both Cedar Rapids and, I think, where is Iowa? I think that's like over here, isn't it? That's Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, yeah, okay, Iowa's down here. With both Cedar Rapids and Iowa City having been freed from syndicalist control by federal forces, the governor of Iowa today reaffirmed his support for the federal government and demanded that Jack Reed withdraw syndicalist militias from the state. While most doubt that Governor Kreischel has any particular affinity for the federal government, it's clear he foresaw which way the battle was leading in the states. Several reports of riots in Des Moines have preceded the withdrawal of militias from the region. An unfortunate loss. Leading the Revolutionary Army, the Central Committee has released a directive to appoint a member to be the head of the Revolutionary Army and guide the army to victory. The Central Committee has decided to appoint, we have here, Doctrine of Autonomy, Division Org and Supply Consumption. Of course, we go for Division Org and Supply Consumption. Guns and butter. This is our stack of militia from Pennsylvania, so we just go for our next biggest stack. 16 in Illinois. And we should probably aim to push into Washington. Or at least hold New York or whatnot. Yeah, these are good tiles over here too. General strike moves on the Federal Reserve. The general strike, whose goal has been to protect workers from federal tyranny, now moves to seize the means of production. The Red Guard have ordered an evacuation of the lower Manhattan in order to both seize gold in the Federal Reserve Bank as well as dismantle Wall Street. In this delegation were reporters who were allowed to watch congressmen carry safe boxes away for safekeeping in Chicago. These items are put under the trust of the IWW, whom have elected Norman Thomas as their undersecretary. Several SPA politicians were arrested in Washington, D.C. for meeting outside the Excel's building, ordering the Federal Reserve Chairman Eugene Black to hear their petitions. Release those men now. Alright, okay, so we have this. I don't know. Deadline looms. As federal government's deadline looms, it's become clear that there will be no budging on either side. Across the part of the country controlled by Reed's supporters, Red Guards have been raised in large numbers, and a growing determination to see the country made in a syndicalist image by force has taken hold. The federal government, in turn, has also made it clear they see no path to compromise. It's only a matter of time. Revolutionary Air Force. Okay. Air superiority doctrine. I would just go air superiority, I guess. I mean, that's like a safe one to get. We need that second stack of militia in Illinois, though. 10 days. Oh, shit. Should have maybe held over here. Oh well. Canada moves into New England. The New England region has been beset by syndicalist militia violence to the point that the governors in the region, worried at the prospect of being overrun by the combined syndicates of America and unwilling to wait for the federal government to restore order, have requested that the Dominion of Canada intervene with its forces to restore order. The Canadian government has sent us notification of their intent and has stressed that they only wish to safeguard the lives of innocents, and that they will discuss the matter further with the American government once peace has been restored. While some in the syndicate cabinet feel that the Canadians have violated their sovereignty, there's little we can do about it at the moment, and we'll deal with it later. British equipment arrives. Nice. 3 speed. Italian equipment arrives. Also nice. Communard equipment arrives. Yes, we will accept these volunteers. Fuck, I hate it when that, it's so annoying. We have a lot of military factories. Okay. Guess we'll go like that for now. Doesn't need to attack there. I guess these guys can be red. And we'll get the main defensive guy. Go with Maurice Rose is also an armor officer. So probably want that person on our tanks, I guess. Go with that, and we'll go with we'll put. Or maybe we want Smedley Butler on our tank, guys. He will get adaptable. We only have I think the one at Field Marshal anyways. I guess we'll just have to use him for that. Make these guys like this gray color, I guess. Go with that guy. Some volunteers from Mexico. Call up emergency reserves. Okay, let's do that. Alright, we got Chilean volunteers, cool. Other decisions. Let's just slam push along the federal front for now. Some attack bonus. It's actually kind of like okay that Canada seizes New England, because then they seized Alaska as well here too. All right. And we'll give you guys go with Oliver Law here. We'll send these guys over here. We got camouflage expert. We don't have any command power for that though. That's okay. Do we have an air force? We have 50 fighters. Okay. And that ain't going to be doing shit, is it? And we'll attend the International Congress, although it's already like pretty annoying that you have to deal with that because you know, like you have to fucking micro the Civil War here. Alright, we got some volunteers. Great. We also need to start pulling out more militia, so let's go for New York City. Shit, we're not going to be able to just straight up walk into Washington. That's unfortunate. Oh, no need to do attacks there that we don't need to do. Let's see, there's a river over here. We can hold on this side of the river. Alright, you know what? There's a river over here too, so we can actually just walk up over here. Alright, we'll get Chilean volunteers. Okay. Spartacade. Let's see. Directive 10, redistribution of material assets. Now that the revolution has begun, we must decide what should be done to the bourgeoisie. The IWW proclaimed that we confiscate all their wealth and redistribute it to the people immediately. The up-and-coming Vanguard has called for their immediate arrest and execution as well, citing the fate of Vladimir Lenin as an example of a revolution defeated by leniency. SPA members belonging to the depreciated AFL, along with several loyal progressives who thought life over death, asking the Central Committee to only expropriate what is necessary for war and keep their materialist constituents happy. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What do we get? What do we get? I've rolled a 5, so we may need those moderates in the future. Oof, that hurts. That smarts. I thought we were supposed to be lining these people up against the wall. What gives? Yeah, so that would actually be a sick tile to take. Move you here, I'll move you here. They've wounded Oliver Law, those bastards. So it looks like we've got up to the river mostly. As much as we can anyways. It'd be nice to like get into there. Getting over here would also be kind of nice. So maybe we should be pulling back towards this other river line back here. I don't know if we need, like, we'll hold this for now, and then maybe we'll contemplate pulling back to that other line later. Give those guys the staff office plan. We'll get you the camo expert trait. We'll have to get more camouflage expert when we have it available, right? That's a pretty important one to have. Maybe down this way. We're gonna get more militia soon. Okay, that's good. I don't know, we'll go with the safecracker over here, I guess. How are we doing on planning? Max 0%. Okay, so I guess we're not. We'll attempt to take Washington. And I don't know, it's whoever, I guess. Send you right over this way. Let's I don't know, let's make those guys like maybe a more different color of red so I can actually tell the difference. We'll go like maybe this like light pink thing. And you guys, bring these guys over here. And we'll have our Navy. Who we got here? Receive critical hit, that's pretty good. Blockade runner. Bold, Ironside. Air controller. Youngblood Nance, lol. I don't know, let's go with this person, that seems pretty good. I'll have you move over here. Decisions, 13 militia in Ohio. Alright, so let's get ourselves some shore support. Take that mountain tile. Spartacade. Okay, we won the Spartacade, so we get some stability, and that's pretty good. Recruit and deploy. Let's do that. Alright, Comrade Blair. So he's promoting the Damocles, the nuclear weapon, not the bikini. Over there. You can push that guy out. Alright, it's got Second Continental Army. Start going for this stuff over here. Gun in hand. We've almost taken Washington, which is excellent. Alright, fall of Washington. Got him. And not being able to get any planning kind of sucks, I'm not gonna lie. It looks like France has sent us some tank units, like that's pretty good. Alright, and we got some more militias over here that we can send out for defensive duties. I guess we can try and hold the hills a little bit. We got Mexican assistance. Alright, Directive 764, Revolutionary Education Act. To those who are well educated, either formally or through bitter experience, revolutionary thought comes as easily as breathing. However, many of our comrades, whether in the Steel Belt or elsewhere in America, have been lied to their entire lives by capitalists and do not understand how the revolution frees them. Men do not give their heart and soul to the revolution, and some even attempt to sabotage their efforts, unaware that we are the only force that truly cares for them. This must be remedied, and our comrades must be deprogrammed. Should we focus on reaching those in our territory, keeping our own morale up, or should we spread our message throughout enemy territory and sap their will to fight their liberators? Give her a roll here. I've rolled a 4, which would be focus on the reactionary enemy. Gives us some PP. Very nice. Very nice. I probably don't need war propaganda. We've taken out Baltimore. Okay, let's bring these guys around over here. See if we can push ourselves up to some of these river lines, maybe. We'll see. You know, if you do pocket the Feds that over here, their capital's in Denver now. Let's focus on trying to make some encirclements, I guess. Armenia joined the Belgrade Pact. Nice, to get British assistance, get some volunteer aircraft. How much? 10 carrier CAS 1, interesting. Alright, more militias. and one military. We get some military factories. Like that's pretty good. Some of those guys over here. Some of these guys over here. We'll reinforce there. How are we on tanks? We have 101 light tanks. This requires 360. We'll go start training a revolutionary armor unit. We don't have anti-air yet, which we'll probably want. Okay, German volunteers arrive in America. Okay. Doing here, division designer. $70 convoys, which I don't have. Let's go for some more militia. Move these guys in this way. Dutch elections. Crisis on the Danube. Probably don't need you guys here anymore. We'll move you guys out over to the front over here. Send you guys over there. You guys can walk up and hold these tiles over here. And if France is going to clear tiles up for us, let's make sure we move some guys over there. Enverla is a trickster. Female soldiers. As the revolutionary struggle continues, a number of women have joined the armed struggle in accordance with the socialist ideals of gender equality. While not all are accepted by their male comrades, it has not deterred many from fighting and dying for the revolution. Manuals have been distributed to recruiters who now effectively, or to how to effectively organize women detachments, of which the militias can teach the military a thing or two. Rebel girl, you are the queen of my world. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, they're going to be sinking some of these convoys over here. We're already disengaging. We need our destroyers with our fleet, though. Unfortunately. I don't think we have. Yeah, we do have a submarine guy. Balkan War 4. And Sweden has joined the Reichspakt. Oh, good for them, I guess. we'll pin there. And red witches. Gender equality has long been a major ideological component of socialist thought, and we have yet more evidence that it works. A squadron of female pilots has earned renown throughout the CSA for their daring raids on enemy territory. Their coordinated and synchronized attack formations allowing them to take down larger enemy air forces with ease. Derisively named the Red Witches by reactionary forces under Huey Long, the squadron led by Florence Poncho Barnes has taken their new nickname up with a great deal of pride. Cool, we get a free ace. Which we will make sure to use. Make sure we pin there properly so we can go ahead and move in over here. Of course, we lost some convoys there. We seem to be holding our right over here too. I mean, I don't know if Wisconsin does have like a bunch of factories in it, which would suck. We are stuck on Milwaukee, or we're holding Milwaukee, so like that's great. Followed New York City. The Federal Rebels. We are seeing increased activity by Federal Rebels and the Combined Syndicates of America, no doubt supported and funded by the federal government. The funneling of weapons through underground has led to rebels uprising behind our lines, no doubt intended to harass our forces. Whether they prove a serious threat or not remains to be seen. We shall endure. Okay, so I guess that's these guys over here in New York. Keep those guys contained, I guess. Don't need that attack anymore, don't need this attack. Savoyard crisis was resolved. Those guys over there. Yeah, so it's actually, it looks like this French tank is pushed up. So we missed St. Louis, I mean, okay. More militias. Make those guys purple, I guess. Some of these guys over here too. Are restored in Maryland. Should get some towed anti-air. I don't have any convoys, though, is my problem, isn't it? What do we get? Get our next construction tech. Okay, so it looks like we had a scuffle with the American fleet there and came out on top. By like a lot. So that's pretty good. We'll repair now, though. Should we take New York City? And we'll recruit another 8 militia in New Jersey. New Jersey! Cancel that division here. And we need to up our economy law. We're gonna get division capped. No! Unfortunately, we are attacking over a river, it looks like, so that sucks. Internal conflicts. We should be able to beat those two militia, I think. At the offset of the revolution, John Reed placed the IWW as a model and future successor to Congress. AFL, which has been declined in membership since before 1935, was revitalized by Reed's endorsement. Now the AFL, as a part of the coalition fighting the socialist revolution, has begun to exercise their ideological autonomy. They have chosen to occupy the entire left side of the IWW and begun to pull in allies. The debates with the IWW can sometimes leak out into street brawls and, in two cases, friendly fire. The vanguards, owing only to their allegiance to the revolution, have tried to foster cooperation. Now Reed must decide whether there is more danger to continue his support for the IWW when compromise is in sight. We'll give her a roll. We've rolled a 2, so we will side with the IWW. Alright, we get support from the syndicalists. Well, let's have actually you guys, if we're going to push the feds over here, we'll have you guys come over this way. It looks like PSA might just kill the feds for us, so it should be alright, I guess. Oh no, we don't get effects from push against the Federals. Can expire a syndicalist in the AUS. Maybe we'll save that one for later. Let's go ahead, let's get the Army Department. Putting intel in Georgia. So Portugal is going to war against the Iberian Federation. Move these guys over this way as well. Let's get some more militias. Chilean-Argentinian War. Okay. So the rule for civil war is that you use your regular infantry to attack their militias. And you don't really want to attack your militias if you can avoid it, just because they have like quite shit stats. Like if you look over here, you can see our divisions have like 52 attack. Again, like they have almost double the militias attack, or they will have double the militias attack. And as a consequence, if you attack with militias into regulars, you will take a lot of casualties. So it's usually something you would like to try to avoid if possible. Oh, I don't know, let's go garrison Siberia or something, I guess. We'll get ourselves some planning bonus. And like, I don't know, this does make, if you're not gonna spam battle plans, this does make your micro a bit easier. Not that we have any planning at the moment anyways. It'll also make us, it'll also let us, maybe, yeah, because we get 72 divisions too, we can stack our guys under 2 now, actually. That's actually relevant. Who's got the camo expert? I thought we had 2 of them. Yeah, this person over here. So let's go like that. You guys can like also be red, I guess. It doesn't really matter. Let's actually maybe get a second field marshal. We've got some political power, got some clout. ourselves a defensive guy. Make these guys black. That would be too bad. Double camo expert would be pretty sick, actually. I don't think that's gonna happen though. Smedley Butler's a commando. It doesn't have a trade available. It doesn't have a slot available to take it though. Oh well. Go with Mint and Wolf, I guess. We'll get the defensive doctrine. These guys still not dead. Sardom restored, okay. That's cool. Got the Tsar. So we'll start encircling the feds there. Directive 1231. Establish the CIA. It is an unfortunate fact that there are spies and saboteurs within our territory working to prevent our glorious liberation of the proletarian masses. Of the many proposals submitted to the Central Committee, one stands out. Earl Bradder's proposal is to create a committee to enforce revolutionary order and stop counter-revolutionary sabotage. However, others from the Central Committee, including Chairman Reid, wonder if this is a necessary step and if we'd be betraying our ideals. Regardless, a vote was taken. What was decided? We'll give her a roll. This was a 3, so the CIA will be created. It's unfortunate because I would have liked to have political power. Gun in hand. You know what? Let's see if we can inspire rebels in the American Union State. And let's also go and pick up this political officer's national spirit. Put them on Oliver Law's line. We hold that side of the river. Go for some more militias. And we will again need to increase our division's cap. We are probably taking some, well, it's not too bad actually. We are taking hits for it though. We can attack here. So you see, this is what a regular infantry unit will do to a militia unit, right? Like, you have enough breakthrough to block their attacks, and you have so much more attack from them, they're just like a pushover. We'll even have this guy help from the other side. Bourgeoisie flee to Canada. The bourgeoisie have decided they will flee the CSA. Thousands have sought refuge within enemy territory, especially within the illegitimate Canadian government. The thieving scum have taken whatever their stolen wealth they could carry with them as they have escaped the revolution. The revolution will come for them in time. Fair enough. We probably also want to consider our front line against the Canadians. I think that's a great. I think we have the crossing in Detroit, and then we hold up here probably is okay. And then we have the border with New England, which they've decided not to release as a puppet. Okay, fair enough, fair enough.